and today we are going to perform dissolved oxygen experiment. So you already might have studied about the principle, procedure and everything else about this DO experiment. So this DO experiment is also known as iodometric titration or Winkler's method, and this is redox type of titration, and this is considered this iodometric method for the DO estimation is considered as one of the most precise methods for the DO estimation. Okay, so before starting our titration, let's take a quick review of the principle. You go through your procedures first because this is quite a lengthy type of titration. So you first read your principle in your procedures. So what does it tell? If you read your principle at once, then it seems quite difficult, right? So to simplify that, I have drawn this flow chart where what does that principle say? That if you are adding a divalent manganese solution to your water sample followed by a strong alkali, then what happens? Divalent manganese hydroxide is formed. Okay, and if DO is present in that water sample, what that DO does, it quickly oxidizes this divalent manganese hydroxide to hydroxides of higher oxidation state. Okay. So what happens if we are providing iodine ions at this step? So after adding this, providing this iodine ions and strong acidic medium, then what happens? This will revert back to, like, this higher oxidation state hydroxide reverts back to divalent manganese hydroxide. And in this process, you know what happens? In this process, I2 is liberated. And this I2 will be equivalent to the DO of water sample which was present initially. Okay. So what we are going to do here? We are just calculating the amount of I2 which is equal to O2 by titrating it against Na2S2O3, that is sodium thiosulfate. So this is known as DO bottle. Okay. This is of 300 ml capacity. So we are going to use this for DO estimation. By this time you should be aware of the fact that before starting any type of titration, we need to first perform what? Standardization. And for standardizing any chemical reagent, we need to use primary standard. Okay. So in this case, which is primary standard, that is potassium iodate solution. Okay, so we are standardizing by using primary standard KiO3, that is potassium iodate, and we have taken 2 ml of potassium iodate and made its volume up to 10 ml by adding 8 ml of distilled water. So why are we doing this? Because if you are using just 2 ml of potassium iodate, then that volume won't be significant. Okay, and we need some volume that should be significant for the amount of indicator we are using. So for that we have diluted it to 10 ml by using distilled water. Okay, and now you may ask that why haven't we used directly 10 ml of potassium iodate? So these chemical reagents are made from chemicals, and those chemicals are extremely expensive. So we need to be very careful while using the amounts. One more thing, that few chemical reactions are like that you cannot use the extra volumes of these reagents. Okay, so we have taken 2 ml of potassium iodate here and 8 ml of distilled water. Now we need to add 1 ml of acetic acid. will be adding a spatula of potassium iodide. Okay, so be careful with the names. That was potassium iodate, that is KiO3, and this is potassium iodide, that is Ki. So after addition of Ki, we got this color, and we need to add 2-3 drops of starch indicator in this, and we need to titrate it till colorless endpoint. So we need to repeat our standardization 2 more times to get precise results. Okay, so after standardization we are going for the estimation of dissolved oxygen, and for this you need to fill this bottle up to its rim. Okay, like this. You should avoid any type of air bubble by doing this. Now we need to add, okay, one more thing. If you are going somewhere and you need to take samples for DO, then what you will do, you will go with this bottle. Like if you are given any site, and there you need to estimate the amount of DO present in that particular water sample in that on that site. Okay, so what you will do, you will take this bottle with you, and you will fill it in the similar way that I have shown you, and wherever you go you need to be with these 2 chemical reagents. Which are they? So we have taken this sample here, and we need to add manganese sulfate, and you need to insert this completely in your bottle. Okay. Now you will be more clear about the principle. That Karo start. So this is alkali iodide azide. Pause. Then gently put the stopper and shake it. So okay, you can see the dispersed form of that manganese hydroxide, right? Now we need to wait till it settles down. Okay. this precipitate has settled down. Now this is brown colored precipitate, you can see, right? Now go through that principle once again, and go through your reactions as well that have been provided in your procedure. So what happens if this precipitate were white? Then what does that mean? That means that DO was not present in that particular water sample. What happens? DO oxidizes the divalent manganese hydroxide to higher equivalent state, and that higher equivalent hydroxide has brown color. Okay, so if that was just a white color precipitate, that means DO was not present in the water sample. Okay, so next step is what we are doing here. Now we need to revert back this to its initial divalent state. Okay, and for that we need a strong acid medium. So for that we are adding 2 ml of H2SO4. Now you can see all the precipitate dissolving. Again you need to shake it. So we need to take 200 ml of this from DO bottle to this bigger conical flask. And okay, here you need to first titrate it against sodium thiosulfate till this dark yellow changes to pale yellow. Okay, so why do we do this? It's because if we add starch indicator directly to that thing that is formed, then what happens? That starch may form some kind of complex with the present iodine. Okay, what are we doing exactly? That we are estimating the amount of iodine present in that, which is equivalent to the DO. Okay, so in that case what happens? That it may form some kind of complex, and that may mislead our readings. Okay, so for that we will first titrate it till pale yellow, and after this point, after this pale yellow point, there is no chance of forming that complex, and after that we have added starch indicator. Now we will titrate it till the colorless endpoint. Okay, and here is the similarly we need to do it thrice for the more precise reading. So we are done with the experiment. One more thing I need to tell you, that if you are going to any site and you need to measure or estimate the DO of that particular water sample on that site. So what will you do? You will have always to carry those two chemicals to fix the oxygen, to fix the dissolved oxygen. Okay, and which are those? I have told you that manganese sulfate and alkali iodide azide. Okay, so after that what will happen? That will form that divalent manganese hydroxide. So then the higher valency hydroxide will be formed. So in this case, this procedure is known as DO fixing. Okay, so what happens? That DO, whatever present in that water sample, gets locked by using those chemical reagents. So this we are done with experiments. So let's see the calculations. So again, for standardization, we are using N1V1 equal to N2V2, where N1 and V1 are normalities and calculations. Here average burette reading we got, like we have repeated it thrice, and average reading we got 7.9. That gives us N2 equal to 0.025. And by using this N2, we need to calculate one factor, which is 8 into N2, that is 0.2 we got. Okay. And by using this factor, we need to calculate the DO. So A into F into 1000 divided by volume. Okay. So what is A here? This is the average burette reading of the 200 ml sample that we have taken from that DO bottle. Okay. So here also average burette reading we got 6.4, and we have calculated the amount of DO, which we got 6.4 mg per liter. Okay. So DO is an extremely important experiment, because it is the principle of DO is used for the estimation of POD, and as an environmental engineer, you know the significance of POD. Okay, so I am not going into too much theory about BOD. You will learn that thing in your class. So I will just briefly tell you, because it is not practicable to perform this BOD test on video and show you. So I am just going to tell you the procedure. Okay, so what happens in the BOD experiment? What happens? We need to first make seeded water we can say. So for that, what do? We take a certain amount of distilled water, and we need to aerate that distilled water for 24 hours. Okay, so that particular distilled water should be devoid of any kind of, if we are using distilled water, then there is no chance of any contamination of like organic contamination, but just to be ensured, we need to aerate it for 24 hours. Okay, and then after 24 hours, what do we need to add? 1 ml of seed. Okay, so seed means what? Seed is the source of microbes, we can say. Okay, so we can either add sewage, like 1 ml per liter of that distilled water, if we are taking suppose 10 liter of distilled water. So we will have to add 10 ml of this seed, either sewage or even soil. You can add even soil. Okay. Then if we are adding microorganisms, then obviously like human beings, like all living beings, even microorganisms need food, okay, for their growth. So we will have to add nutrients. So FeCl3, CaCl2, MgSO4, we will add as nutrients. Even these are added in the amount 1 ml per liter, I guess. You go through your procedure once and see. Then we have provided food to our microorganisms, but again one important step is to maintain the osmotic pressure and pH of that seeded water. Okay, so for that we need to add phosphate buffer for maintaining pH and osmotic pressure. So after this, okay, what we need to do? We need to make some kind of dilutions, we can say. You have made your seeded water. Now just see, don't be confused between seeded water and your sample. Okay, seeded water is the thing that we have prepared in laboratory, and sample you will be getting from somewhere. Okay, so what we will be doing? We will make some dilutions. Okay, now you will say that why dilutions? Why can't we use that sample directly? So what happens if we are using that sample directly? Then this may happen that this all nutrients will be consumed, and like we won't get the accurate reading in that case. So what we need to do? We need to dilute it to some extent, so that the setup is useful for us. Okay, so for now there are many such dilution ratios that are used for various kinds of wastes. So you can again refer your procedure for that. So for an example, I am telling you for just consider that we are taking 0.51 and 1.5 dilution. Okay, so what you will do for 0.5%? In 0.5% dilution, you will take 5 ml of seeded water and 5 ml of sample that you have gotten from some site, and you will take 995 ml of seeded water. Okay, so we got total 1000 ml. Okay, now I will tell you why we are making 1000 ml. So similarly for 1% and 1.5% we will be using 10 and 15% of sample, and 990 and 985 ml of 985 ml of seeded water. So what we need to do now? Now we need to pour this water into 3 DO bottles. You already have seen DO bottles, right? So and capacity of each DO bottle is what? 300 ml. Okay. So if we are adding, like we need an amount which can fill all the 3 DO bottles. So we are taking 1000 ml here. So 3 DO bottles will be filled. Okay, so similarly we need to perform it for blank, and blank is what? Completely seeded water, that is 1000 ml of seeded water, and transferred into 3 DO bottles. Okay, 300, 300, 300. Okay, now you have 3 blank, 3.5%, 3 1%, and 3 1.5% DO bottles. Okay, so what we will do now? We will keep all these bottles in an incubator which is set at 20 degrees centigrade. Okay. So after 5 days, we need to take those bottles out and we need to calculate the DO by using the same formula. Okay, by using the same formula. So final here why we have taken 3 bottles each, because obviously I have told you earlier that for the precise like more accurate reading you need to repeat any type of experiment at least thrice. Okay, so we will be taking average of blank, like we will calculate the DO of each and every bottle of 3 samples each, and you will take average of each, and here you will average reading of blank, average reading of your samples, and you will calculate DO by using the same formula. Okay, so I have told you this procedure because it is not possible for us to perform that BOD experiment. Like we need to wait for 5 days, right? So that's why that experiment won't be performed here. So just go through the procedures once again, and this was all about DO and BOD experiment. For any other query or doubt, you can ask Dr. MP Latkar. Okay, bye bye, thank you.